official voice of the youth. Education Matters is sponsored by Drug Free Athens, helping to prevent substance abuse by youth. Ellison's Professional Services. When it comes to your tax return, go with who you know. Ellison's Professional Services. And your local internet station, MeetYouRadioAthens.com. My name is Aiden Stevens, and joining me in the studio are
Michaela Rattery.
And Aiden Dowdy.
Today on Education Matters, we will be discussing Ms. Tracy Smith's District 9 campaign and her campaign on housing. But before we jump into today's show, Aiden will give us our words to grow on. Oh, excuse me, Michaela.
If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Said by Shirley Chisholm.
Also, before we jump into today's show, Aiden will give us our history fact.
Your history fact is Juneteenth. Freedom finally reaches Texas, and this was June 19th, 1865, in Galveston, Texas. Today's history fact focuses on Juneteenth, one of the most significant dates in American history. On June 19th, 1865, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued by Abraham Lincoln, Union Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced General Order 3, informing enslaved African Americans that they were free. Although the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed on January 1st, 1863, many enslaved people in Texas did not learn of this freedom until Union troops arrived to enforce the order. June 19th became known as Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th. For generations, African American communities celebrated Juneteenth through family gatherings, educational events, worship services, and community celebrations. On June 17, 2021, Juneteenth officially became a federal holiday in the United States. And that was your history fact.
Also, before we jump into today's show, I will give us our word of the week. The word of the week for this week is perseverance. Perseverance means steady persistence in a course of action despite challenges or obstacles. The origin of perseverance is it was derived from the Latin word perseverare, meaning to continue steadfastly. A sentence would be, perseverance helped community leaders continue working toward their goals even when success did not come immediately. That was your word of the week.
Ms. Smith, I would like to know, can you give the crowd a little background information about who you are, what you do, and why are you in District 9?
All right there, Mr. Mr. Aiden Dowdy. I am a native Athenian. I was born here in Athens, Clark County, and I lived in Athens and Atlanta. I used to go back and forth between Atlanta and Athens because my mother was a nurse at Grady Hospital, and she had 3 children, and I was the oldest of her 3 at that time. But since then, I have a sister, so she has 4 kids. But then I think about it, I have another niece, so she may have 5 kids as I think about it. But going back and forth, Whitehead Road Elementary School, Margaret Fane Elementary School in Atlanta on Delmar Lane, and I think they've taken that building down, so it's probably not in existence now. But I also went to John F. Kennedy Middle School in Atlanta, and I came and I went to Southwest High. Southwest High now is Charles Gene Young Middle School, and they built Benjamin E. Mays High School. And then I returned back to Athens, and I graduated from Cedar Shoals High School.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But what that did was it gave me an opportunity to see other communities, other cultures, and it opened a door that if I had not have gone, I would never have had an opportunity to see what else is out there. It allows your mind to open up and explore other opportunities. And at that time, being young, I wanted to participate in the marching band. And here in Athens, they have, they call them bannerets. They wear the white gloves. Well, they call them, they're bannerets. In Atlanta, they had your majorettes, you had your bannerets, and I was on the banneret. We wore white gloves. And it was to look at some of those young people. It was just amazing to see them perform. It's a performance. you can see similar to the way that they march if you're looking at Grambling University, or Florida A&M, something like that, or some HBCU. So, but you don't really see that. But you know, when I had an opportunity to explore, I remember the Redcoats, which was the University of Georgia marching band, and that is a powerful band.
Love the Redcoats.
They have about 400. I'm talking about in unison, one. But when you look at both of them together, each one have their uniqueness, and I was able to appreciate each one of them, and I saw the beauty in all 400, and wasn't quite sure how many the other bands had, but they were pretty large as well.
And what inspired you to run for commissioner?
Well, I'm a native Athenian. My great grandmother, I was part of this culture growing up. I was able to go downtown where they had hot corner. They call it hot corner celebration now. They have a hot corner celebration. But back in the day, my grandparents and parents used to shop down there. They had Mutual's Funeral Home down there on hot corners. They had the Wilson's Barber Shop, been there forever. But they had a pharmacy down there. Mr. Pete Morton built the Morton Theater. They had all of these different businesses that were centralized in that area. So as I grow up, you begin to see how your community changes. Then you become familiar with how it changes. It is changed by your commissioners and your mayors. And here in Athens, Clarke County, we got 10 districts that represent 10 different communities. And we have one mayor. So they've set forth the rules, regulation, ordinances in which this community is governed by. So in order to make a change, you have to be part of the process. So we can complain about things, but if you don't vote, if you don't become actively involved in the civic engagement and participation, what you're saying really doesn't hold that much weight unless you be part of the process. And in order to do that, I have to be part of the process, because I've seen a lot of different things that are going on in our community that needs development, that needs growth, things that my work space have given me the ability to be able to transplant and implement here in Athens, Clarke County.
Okay, so then with you knowing all the issues that are in District 9, what do you plan to do to stop or to try to make better for the community?
Well, one of the things that we have to do in District 9, I may not know all of them, but I do know enough of them to want to be part of the process of eliminating them. But in order to get anything right, in order to hit a target, you have to have the proper coordinates. You know, if you were a sharpshooter, if someone tell you, okay, you got to hit the bullseye, well, in order to hit that bullseye, sometimes you got to have the right coordinates in order to do that. And what I have found is that District 9 needs communications, because there are a lot. It's one of the largest districts in Athens, Clarke County. And some of our communities are not part of at the table. We don't even know that they exist. And if it wasn't for me driving our district, looking at our boundary lines, being able to talk to the people in the district, I would have probably never known that they were there. But we have streets in District 9 in 2026 that doesn't have asphalt. They're dirt, grass, rocks. And some of our young people are walking on those dirt, grass, and walks in order to get to school. And it shouldn't be. Because if you're going to school having to walk, you have a safety issue when you're having to jump in and out of on the pathways in the grass, and then you go and walk in the street, which is on asphalt. A car is coming, then you got to jump back over there in the grass. But you're not quite sure what is in the grass. It could be a snake in there, it could be a hole. Right. So it's a safety issue. So these are issues that I see, and plus what really got me going is that I look at the county commissioners' meetings. And at the meeting, there was our representative who's supposed to be advocating for our services and our needs voted to send $3.2 million, or it could be $3.4 million, to another district. And we are still looking for services in District 9. So why would you, and how could you justify sending money over to another district when you know your district has children, families that need to come together? They want a place where they can gather. They can play football, basketball, softball, tennis, whatever it may be, and just maybe having cultural activities. But you chose to send that money away. So that's a problem. We have to represent the people who elected us to be in office.
With that, how do you plan to ensure transparency and communication in planning decisions?
Well, transparency to me is basically telling the truth. If something comes up, we need to be forth about it. We need to be able to share with our constituency that there's an issue. And we collectively can come to the table and see what we can do to solve the issue. That's transparency. Now, if something comes up that's out of our hands, it's my responsibility to say, well, you know, I voted on this, but this has come up. And my job would be to communicate that back to our residents to let them know that we got to change. We got to change in plans, so that's going to make us change our direction. But people want to know. They won't be, they may not agree with it, but they know that in order to make a difference, to change policy, it takes 6 votes in downtown Athens, Clarke County. That means my vote and 5 other in order to get something passed.
Okay, so then how do you plan to balance growth and development while protecting long-time residents from displacement?
Well, one of the things that our seniors have an issue with is that they are concerned about being priced out of their homes. When you buy a home, you have to pay property taxes. But if you are a senior and you're retired, that means that your income is basically the same. When there is new development that is being developed and built around you, it's going to impact what your property taxes is. So being able to know strategically, we call it smart growth. It's being able to be aware of what we're planning, what we're building, and who's doing what in our community, so that we can be on top of those things. I think we got a commercial break coming up or something. Do we? Yeah. Okay, so if with that, being able to have, they got homestead exemption right now for our seniors. If you've been in your home for a period of time older, then you can apply for a homestead exemption. But you still have to be able to vote to maintain certain types of exemptions and other programs that may be available for our seniors. And then too, we have our young people who are looking to purchase their first homes. So making sure that our communities are not over inundated with people coming in to our limited space, but we have a housing shortage here in Athens, Clarke County. So now we got issues that we got to be able to solve those issues going forward. So this is a complex problem, an issue that is going to require some thought. But Duke University, North Carolina, there are communities there. The university paired and partnered with the locals, the state council peoples, nonprofits, and came up with solutions on how they can make a difference in their community. And I look to see what we can do and partner with the University of Georgia, because that's what they do. They go to school, they are learning the trends, they're looking at the data, and we can see what other municipalities are doing and see how that can apply to what we're doing here in Athens, Clarke County. I will actively look for solutions along with other commissioners, because I won't be the only one, to try and solve some of the issues that we have here in Athens, Clarke County and in District 9.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And with that, we'll be right back after a quick run of commercials.
Athens, Clarke County is one of the most food insecure communities in Georgia. Every night, thousands of Athenians, both young and old, go to bed lacking sufficient amounts of quality and nutritious food. It's a tragedy being addressed by the nonprofit organization Feed My Sheep Ltd. Once a week, the members of Feed My Sheep Ltd. Deliver food to the homes of people in need. If you or someone you know is in need of quality nutrition, call Feed My Sheep Ltd. at 706-850-6499. That's 706-850-6499. Feed My Sheep Ltd. It's more than serving food, it's serving God.
With an underage drinking myth and fact sponsored by Drug-Free Athens. Myth: I can drink alcohol and not have any problems. Fact: if you are under 21 years old, alcohol is a big problem. It is illegal. Kids who drink are more likely to get poor grades in school and are at higher risk of being crime victims. That was an underage drinking myth and fact sponsored by Drug-Free Athens. For more information on preventing youth substance abuse, go to drugfreeathens.org.
So, Mr. Dunn, who came up with the idea for this youth journalism program?
Me.
And why did you think that you wanted to give back to the youth in the community of Athens?
Oh, why did I want to get back to the youth? Because as tired as this might sound, the youth are the future. And if we don't prepare the youth, what type of future are we going to have? You know, years and years ago, how old are you? 13?
14.
14? I was 14.
Whoa.
You know? I'm a long way from 14. But one day you're going to be as old as I am. And if I don't invest in you now, how can I don't want to use the word guarantee, but I mean, every generation should be concerned about making sure that the next generations behind them are better than theirs. And if I don't help you get those skills, then how can I impact that? So it's about impacting the future.
And how do you use things such as the summer camp to make sure that we get the skills that we need to develop into the youth that you want us to be?
Well, the summer camp is just an extension of everything else we do throughout the school year, which is to help children gain the skills and the confidence needed to be successful adults. So the summer camp just builds on to what we'll be doing all year long. For us, it's a relaxing way to do what we do all year long. I mean, during the school year, we got the Education Matters radio show, which we'll continue doing the summer. We do the after-school program, the Education Matters Youth Reporters. We have the Athens Pupils. We have the Me You Radio. So the High School Completion Initiative, which is our nonprofit, I mean, that's what we do all year long. The summer camp is just a little bit more relaxed way of doing everything that we do.
So when did the summer camp start, and what was the main idea that wanted you to keep it going?
Well, it actually started, the Education Matters radio show has been around 16 years. And I think it was year 2, probably year two. Year 2 is when I thought that we needed to have the summer camp. It was strictly for the students who were doing the Education Matters radio show, to help them acquire more skills to be better at doing the show. And then, probably in year 5, we decided to expand it beyond just the students that were who were working on the show, to bring in more kids. And partially, it was trying to recruit some more children to be on the show, but also to, again, expand our reach into the community.
How many students are you expecting to come to the camp?
We have a target of 25. We have not reached that target yet, so if you want your child to participate in this camp, then they can do so by going to our website, which is acchsci.org, and the registration information link is on there.
So tell us about the camp. I feel like we was getting ahead of ourselves. We keep referring to it as the camp. What is the camp?
Well, Ms. Thompson came up with the name for this year's camp, because usually it's just called Education Matters Summer Journalism Program. But Ms. Thompson, with her clever self, came up with a name for this one.
This year's camp title or theme is Studio 6.9, because our focus is not just going to be on what you all do here, but we're going to be doing photography, we're going to be doing podcasts, they're going to be learning about AI apps and how you can do presentations. We're going to take you on a field trip, which everybody seemed to like. That's the main thing why we go to camp, just go on a field trip. But we're also going to be talking about, in 1 week, post-secondary, which means high school. What happens after high school? 4-year colleges versus 2-year colleges. Financial literacy. A lot of you don't even talk about, probably at home, your credit score. What is a credit score? How does a credit score impact you? How do you have, what is considered a good credit score? What is considered a bad credit score? How do I invest in my retirement? Now, though you are 14 years old, you still need to think about retirement, because at one point you're going to become part of the working force. And I can say there are probably no jobs out there that'll give you that stability retirement plan that was in the past, that maybe your grandparents or your parents have. So we're going to be talking about those things, as well as what, like your resume. A lot of you don't even think about your resume. Like, you're doing this is part of your resume.
Right.
Some of you have been doing it a year, some of you have been doing it 2 years. But because all of y'all are starting high school next year. So we're going to be talking about the impact of your 9th grade year also during that week of post-secondary. Because I like to tell kids, your 9th grade year, it'll either make you or break you. Because you won't have that consistency that some of you may have been used to in middle school of, oh, homework's due, oh, the report is due. No. When you go to high school, they're going to start treating you like what you are, a young adult, which means you're going to be held accountable. So we're going to talk about those things, as well as we're going to have somebody come in on mental health and how to balance your extracurriculum activities with your education.
And why do you think it's important to balance fundamentals and fun with the youth?
What do you mean by fundamentals?
Like the things you need for life.
Your
financial literacy,
like the curriculum that you were just
that.
talking about, that we're going to learn about.
So, like your financial literacy, why should you know it, or why, like, the importance of it?
The importance of it.
The importance of it is, you want to go buy a car?
Yes, you need it.
Well, you don't necessarily need it if you got public transportation. But if you want to buy a car, you need to understand that that's a bill. And if you have no credit, then your interest rate for that loan will be high. Right there, your credit score determines your interest rate on large purchases. And you all, as young adults, need to start preparing for those things. Not necessarily about purchasing large items, just knowing that when you get a job, you're paying into the tax system. You're gonna one day retire. But when you go to college, some of you may have to take out loans. And you need to know a difference between a variable rate and a fixed rate on a student loan. And this affects your credit score. Because though you are in school, some of those loans start asking you for money, like as soon as you walk across that line with that degree, or if you don't finish school, they start asking for that money. And you need to understand that. You need to see what your options are. I always say, if you're going to college, know what you're going for see if there's any free money out there for you to help alleviate some of that loans that you're going to face going to college.
And what makes this summer program different from others for teens?
What makes it different? We're going to have a lot of one-on-one. And like I said, we're going to take the kids to Alabama State, and then from Alabama State, we're going to go to the Legacy Museum and let them experience that. But we're going to do a lot of hands-on things. So it's not going to be like you sitting in camp and you just twiddling your thumbs. No, you're going to have instruction, but you also going to have interactive instruction. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is it's not going to be the person just talking and you listening, but you're going to have to like respond and be engaged in it. So, and a lot of camps don't offer that. And the ones that do offer that are truly more expensive than the one that we're doing, because our fee for 2 months, which is June and July, is $100 with a registration of $20, which goes towards, if you do 2 months, that $100, it goes towards that $100. If you elect not to, then it's $75 a month. Now, we don't have lunch, but the student will have an hour for lunch, so they will need to bring their lunch. We do have early drop-off, which will be an additional fee, as well as we have late pickup. And what I mean by early drop-off, camp starts at 10 o'clock, early drop-off starts at 9:30. Camp ends at 3, late pickup is at 3:30.
Okay.
So when this camp ends, like, what do you want students to take from it?
Well, one, a deeper appreciation of journalism, of course. Not necessarily that we want them to become journalists, but at least a better understanding. But more importantly than that, we want them to have additional life skills. That's why we're doing the financial literacy piece and talking a bit more about what to expect post high school. We want them to be better readers, have greater literacy skills, better critical thinkers, and hopefully have a smile on their face because they enjoyed themselves for the summer.
And how do you teach students to ask, like, good questions and tell stories on side of the journalism part of the program?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much what we do here. We show them what a good question is. We emphasize the 5 W's and the H of journalism, the who, what, why, when, where, how. I'm sure I missed out when. Thank you. And if you focus on those, then you'll come up with good questions. You will have what we call open-ended questions, which requires a person to give you a lot of detailed information. So if you focus on that, then you'll be able to ask better questions. But also, if you focus on that when reading and writing, you become a better reader and writer.
Thank you. And with that, we'll be right back after a quick run of commercials. I didn't always think I'd make it to high school, but programs like the ACC High School Completion Initiative helped me stay on track. Now imagine helping students like me just by grocery shopping. With your Kroger Plus card, you can link to ACC High School Completion Initiative, Inc. through Community Rewards. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps provide support, resources, and a second chance. So next time you shop, know you're doing more than buying groceries. You're helping someone reach graduation.
Are you tired of living with foot or ankle pain? At the Foot and Ankle Treatment Center, we've been providing exceptional podiatric care for over 10 years. Whether it's custom orthotics, advanced laser treatment, diabetic foot exams, or heel pain relief, we've got you covered. We're dedicated to getting you back on your feet. pain-free. Conveniently located at the 2410 Hog Mountain Road in Watkinsville, Georgia. We're here to take you to the next step towards better foot health. Call Dr. Donovan Gowdy and his staff today at 706-312-4288 or visit our website at www.georgiapodiatrycenter.com. The Foot and Ankle Treatment Center, because your feet deserve the best care.
Studio 6.9 Media Camp, where the next generation of storytellers get started. This summer, Studio 6.9 Media Camp is calling all curious, creative youth in grades 6 through 9 to step into the world of real journalism. Print, photography, audio production, sound engineering. You'll learn it all. You'll even take a field trip to Montgomery, touring Alabama State University and the powerful Legacy Museum. Studio 6.9 runs Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Calvary Bible Church on Tallahassee Road, wrapping up on July 23rd. Brought to you by the ACC High School Completion Initiative, because your voice deserves to be heard. Apply online today at www.acchsci.org. Studio 6.9 Media Camp. Tell the world. Today on Education Matters, we will still be discussing the end of the school year and the upcoming summer camp with the Education Matters radio station with our Education Matters team. So, Mr. Dunn, what exactly do y'all plan to do on a day-to-day basis with all the kids?
Well, let me back up first, because you said that this summer camp was with the Education Matters radio station. The radio station, MU Radio Athens, which Music Education Uplift, is a program of the High School Completion Initiative. Everything, including this radio show, Education Matters, the 6.9 Summer Camp, all of those are programs of the High School Completion Initiative, which is a nonprofit organization. So we want people to understand that the summer camp is not a program of the radio station, it's a program of the nonprofit High School Completion Initiative. Okay. But I'm gonna let Ms. Thompson, because she drafted a great program outline for what we're gonna do.
Oh, how great.
And I'm gonna pass that on to her.
So our first week, we're gonna do what we call Introduction to Media, which means we're gonna talk to the kids and the students about, I shouldn't say kids, the students about the 5 W's and 1 H, as Mr. Dunn has already mentioned. We're going to do a segment on sports. We're going to do a segment on real news versus fake news. What is real news? What is fake news? We're going to do entertainment. These are all what they call media content. So the students will be able to get a better, like a more in-depth, because it's going to primarily probably be one-on-one. And what I mean by one-on-one, probably a small group with one instructor, so they get to be more engaged with the instructor. On the second week, it's AI and media. That's more of your presentations. We're gonna do photography. We're gonna do how do you fact check a story. We're gonna do what's the proper way to use AI. Because everybody loves ChatGPT because it'll give you the answer without you thinking, but we're trying to raise critical thinkers. So ChatGPT should not be your first go-to. We also gonna talk about Canva and how do you do research. Like when you're doing a research paper, what's the first thing you do? Aiden?
When I'm doing a research paper?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I do is probably like see what I'm researching first.
Well, you already have your topic, so how do you research it?
First, I see who I'm researching on, and then I might look that person up and go find their bio or something.
Okay, so we're going to talk about how do you research, what are good resources, as well as when you're doing, I used to call them endnotes or the biography. I don't know what y'all call it now.
Bibliography?
Huh?
A bibliography?
Yes.
Bibliography?
Yes. Or your endnotes, where you cite, where you got your quotes and everything. So we're going to be talking about that. The third week is editing and audio. So we're going to bring in the soundboard and let the kids record and show them how to edit. But the key thing here is every week, whatever our theme is, the kid's going to have a hands-on experience. It's not going to be that, like I said, it's instruction and then writing it down. No, it's going to be where you learn and you implement. Because a lot of kids may not just learn from listening and writing it down. Some kids learn by actually doing it. That's why we're doing it as more implementation of the subject matter.
That was a cool thing about studying journalism in college for me, was the fact that it was more hands-on than any other subject that I could think of. So you had to produce, you had to write, you had to produce media content. And that's what I enjoyed about it when I was in college, and hopefully that's what young people enjoy about doing it through our different programs.
When you're teaching students, do you also learn from it?
I don't think you can teach without learning. I don't care what you teach. I think it is absolutely impossible to teach and think you're the only one that's learning. I mean, the only people that are learning are the children or the people that you're teaching it to. So yes, you learn. You not only learn your craft better, but you also learn, you should be learning from the students, how they perceive it, how it's benefiting them. So you're getting new information, new vision of what you're teaching. So I think it's impossible to call yourself a teacher and not be a learner at the same time. But what do I know?
How can y'all get students out their comfort zone?
Well, how did we get you out of yours?
Speaking up, making me talk.
Okay, and so it's the same thing. I think one of the biggest differences in what we do and what happens in the educational setting, the school setting, is that we encourage children to speak up. We encourage them to be expressive. We encourage them to create. There's a freedom that comes with how we run our camps, how we run our program, that is missing in the public school system. And that's not a condemnation on the school system. It's just that we have the ability and the freedom to be that open. We encourage that, where the school system got a lot of hoops that they need to jump through and don't really have the time to devote to, I guess I would call it free expression. Mm-hmm. So is that fair? You work for the school system.
Yeah, I would say free expression is something that is lacked in the public school system now. But that's part of being able to critically think, like think for yourself. You all are in school 8 hours a day and you're pretty much told how to think. And when you come here, it's not, we don't want you, we're not going to tell you how to think. We want to know what you're thinking. Because like Mr. Don said earlier, you all are the next generation of leaders. So if you do not have critical thinking skills, then what's going to happen to the generation after you?
Well, how will you ensure that students are using their critical thinking skills in your camp?
They're going to have projects. So the first month is on hand and instruction. The second month, let's say Nivea, she want to do photography. So she's going to take pictures, and then she's going to have to pretty much, pictures say 1,000 words, but she's also going to have to put little captions by it. You know, I'm thinking of a newspaper, but y'all don't even look at the newspaper probably because they're so hard to find. But you know how when you're online and you got the little captions up under Rihanna and Rocky, what is his name? ASAP Rocky? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like a little caption. So that's how we know, because she has to interpret her picture for her audience, which means she's going to be building her portfolio. That's also part of building your resume, because like I said, you all are going to the 9th grade. By the time you get to the 12th grade, I expect you to at least apply for scholarships every year that you qualify for. do not wait till you get to the 12th grade to start applying for scholarships, because there are scholarships out there. Once you figure out what you're going to school for, then start looking at different organizations that might offer scholarships. That's why when you see a lot of kids that when they're graduating, they've got like $2.5 million worth of scholarship money. It wasn't that they waited till the 12th grade. They started as early as 8th grade.
And Mr. Young, I have a follow-up question to ask you about when you were talking about encouraging students to speak up. So what change have you seen inside of some of your students by encouraging them to speak up?
Well, we've had students come into a program, elementary school, middle school, high school students, who were basically, they wouldn't talk. And when they came into the program, but by the time they left, they became very vocal and became very comfortable in expressing themselves. He won't mind if I use his name, Joshua. Okay, Joshua Henderson. Joshua first came to us, he was, I think, 6th grade. And all Joshua wanted to do at first, because he was shy and somewhat intimidated by the older students, he just wanted to work the board or something. He wanted to do things where he didn't have to talk. And bit by bit, we gave him stuff where he had to read, he had to talk, he had to talk, he had to talk. And by the time Joshua graduated from high school, Joshua was on the mic just like you guys are, very, very articulate. Now he helps teach journalism to students in the community. So we brought him out of that, I'm afraid to he's just out there. He can really do it. Cordell was always, I thought, he wasn't shy about talking. At least if he was, he didn't try to hide it with us. But he's much more articulate now than he was when we first got him. So it's just an opportunity to do it, and then not do it in a way where you have to worry about somebody going to get on you about how you use the term, but somebody who's encouraging you and wanting you to succeed at it. So
right.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any stories from like a previous year of camp of a student or you or anything?
Got lots of stories, but I do want to kind of quickly, part of what we do is work with elementary school kids, with the Education Matters Youth Reporters. And the goal of that program is to help children improve their English language arts skills. And so this year, just got through crunching the numbers. We compared the iReady scores from fall to winter and spring. And this year, 60% of the kids that were in our program raised their reading score by 1 grade. And I mean, I was just blown away at the data. But overall, 86% of the kids that were in our program raised their reading score from the fall to the spring. So you asked me how we measure success. I measure success differently, but since everybody likes numbers, that's one way. So we're really proud of that success.
And here on Education Matters, we ask all of our guests this essential question. I'm pretty sure you made this question, so I'm pretty sure you should know it by now. And that is, why does education matter to you?
Well, I can't quote it exactly, but it's biblical. It's a fool that doesn't want to learn. And I don't like fools. I respect anybody for what they want to do, but I think everybody's capable, and I think you show your capability by learning. And the more you learn, the more you can be of help to other people in your society, in your community. And so I just think education is the key, not only to making your life better, but making the life of everybody around you better.
Ms. Thompson?
Why does education matter to me? And I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on what Mr. Dunn said. I feel like with education is not in the walls of a schoolroom. Education is life. And when you experience different things and learn about different cultures and read, because the key there is definitely read and travel and see outside of your community. That's education. A lot of you may not look at it like that, but it's not necessarily what we learn in the structured environment of the traditional way. Because at the very beginning, I think one of you asked a question to Mr. Dunn in referencing, can you learn from the student? And to me, that's the best teacher sometimes, is looking at y'all and watching y'all grow right there. Because some of you have become more of an extrovert, and that's a positive, that's a win, because that reassures us that, one, we're doing what we enjoy doing, which is exposing you all to different things, and you're taking it in, you're absorbing it like a sponge, and you're using it to your benefit. So with education, it's the lifeline to success.
Oh, thank you. And with that, we'll be right back after a quick one of commercials.
Let me show you how easy it is to give back. Open the Kroger app, tap the menu, go to rewards, then community rewards, search for ACC High School Completion Initiative, Inc., and hit enroll. That's it. Now every time you use your Kroger Plus card, a portion goes towards helping local students finish high school. No extra cost, no extra effort, just real impact.
This is Juice Arabia with an underage drinking myth and fact sponsored by Judge-Free Athens. Myth: I can drink alcohol and not have any problems. Fact: if you are under 21 years old, alcohol is a big problem. It is illegal. Kids who drink are more likely to get poor grades in school and are at higher risk of being crime victims. That was an underage drinking myth and fact sponsored by Drug-Free Athens. For more information on preventing youth substance abuse, go to drugfreeathens.org.
I'm Keisha B. Rouse, owner of Crowning Tier Group. I know how overwhelming finances can feel, especially when you're trying to grow a business or manage it all on your own. That's why we offer bookkeeping, tax strategy, and real support year-round. We're not just number crunchers, we're partners in your success. Visit crowningtiergroup.com or call 706-705-1644 to schedule your free consultation. Or feel free to drop by our office at 29 North Main Street, Suite 3, Watkinsville, Georgia, 30677.
You're still here with Education Matters, the official voice of the youth. My name is Aiden Stevens, and joining me in the studio are
Michaela Rattery
and Aiden Dowdy.
Today on Education Matters, we will still be discussing Ms. Tracy Smith, District 9 campaign, and about housing. But before we jump back into today's discussion, Michaela will give us our scholarship of the week.
Today's scholarship spotlight is the Jackie Robinson Foundation Scholarship. Named after baseball pioneer Jackie Robinson, this scholarship supports students who demonstrate academic achievement, leadership, community service, and a commitment to making a difference. And eligibility includes graduating high school seniors, financial need, and planning to attend an accredited four-year college or university. Recipients may receive up to $35,000 in financial assistance, along with mentoring, leadership development, and career support. High school seniors interested in applying can visit www.jackierobinson.org and click on the scholarship program section to learn more about eligibility requirements, deadlines, and the application process.
Also, before we jump back into today's discussion, Aiden will give us our To Your Health Fact.
Today's To Your Health Fact is sponsored by the Foot and Ankle Treatment Center. focuses on gratitude and emotional wellness. Research has shown that regular expressing gratitude can improve mood, reduce stress, and strengthen relationships. Taking just a few moments each day to reflect on things you're thankful for can help shift your focus from challenges to opportunities. Whether it's family, friends, education, faith, or personal achievements, gratitude helps build emotional resilience during difficult times. Experts suggest keeping a gratitude journal, sharing appreciation with others, or simply taking time each day to recognize positive moments. Emotional wellness isn't just about ignoring problems. It's about developing healthy habits that help us navigate life's ups and downs with greater confidence and peace of mind. Again, that was your 2-year health sponsored by the Foot and Ankle Treatment Center.
So, Ms. Smith, I want to know, where do you think Athens has made the most progress in community development?
I like that right there.
And community development in terms of housing?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as you can see, a lot of Athens is experiencing development and growth. Every district pretty much you look at in Athens, you see that there is some form of growth. But we have to keep in mind that Athens is one of the smallest counties, land space, in 159 counties in the state of Georgia. So when we think about development and growth, if you look downtown Athens, you can see a lot of different residential apartments are being built in downtown Athens. So I think Athens has a lot of different development and growth going on.
Okay, and then how can Athens ensure that working families can afford to live in the communities they serve?
There are many different ways people can look to stay in the homes that they're in now. And one of the things that people have to do, and one is an important thing, is have a livable wage. Oftentimes people are working, but they don't make enough. If they're getting paid hourly, the hourly rate is not enough to be able to accommodate their living expenses, their home, with homes and families, health care, and all of that. So it's important for people to have a livable wage. People need jobs. They need to be able to pay what they're worth. And Athens, some of the different job market is drying up here in Athens. And we need to look at ways in which we can bring new businesses, new commerce here to Athens, Clarke County, and having our residents being able to fulfill those jobs. So that's one way of being able to keep our residents in the homes that they are in now, and two, not allowing them to be priced out, making sure that the homes are not getting so that you can't even pay the property taxes on it in order to stay in your home, because you got now your neighbor has built a 3-story house that is quadruple the amount that your house is. Now your property taxes have gone up, and this is one form of displacement because people can't afford to pay the property taxes.
Okay, and I also want to know, from your opinion, do you think Athens focuses more on UGA than they should on core problems like homelessness, affordable housing, and stuff like that?
Well, I think that people have a way of focusing on whatever it is that they want to focus on. There are times when Athens will be able to focus on the unhoused, which is our homeless population.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are times when the University of Georgia, it's hard not to be able to focus on the University of Georgia because the university holds so many different key points of element of development here and what we need here in Athens, Clarke County. If we can partner with some of the programs at the University of Georgia, we could probably solve some of the problems that we are experiencing. So I think it just depends on what it is at whatever time it may be that people are focusing on whatever issue that is at hand.
That's the next question.
Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting these type of questions coming from with Education Matters, but it's great to know that you guys are out here and you're thinking. And this is what we need when we have young people participation. We can think outside of the box. One of the things that I did think about, I thought about, hadn't really talked about it, but it is an option. when you think about development and growth, and we already got limited land space, have anyone ever thought about just going vertical, just going up? You know, back long ago, there were different movies, different things, but you've seen where people have taken a small land space, and as opposed to going horizontally, moving outward, and they call that sprawl. But what if we take a section and we start going upward, vertically? So some of the housing populations that we have, we find ourselves limited by, we now have generated another thought process of how we can accommodate this shortage of housing that we have. And a lot of the reason we have this is because the students don't have a place to go. But what if the University of Georgia takes some of that land space that they do have and develop housing for their students? That's another option.
Speaking of that, I do have some questions on that.
Oh, you do? Well, I should have known Mr. Aiden had some questions. What do you have, Mr. Aiden?
So my first question I want to ask you about that is, what role do you think UGA should play in addressing Athens housing affordability?
Well, it's not at It's not UGA's responsibility to address Athens housing issues. Period. But what we can do is to schedule a meeting of partnership and sharing with the University of Georgia some of the plights and issues that we are experiencing, and create a think tank of solutions that can come from that.
And do you think that the student housing that they need should be closer to campus or further away?
Well, this is something that I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. I'm not quite sure at the course of how the university is planning their students. I did hear that they were talking about maybe the incoming freshmen would not have cars, which will reduce our carbon footprint. So that would be a great point. But I'm not quite sure what the university have in mind of its future growth and where it could actually accommodate housing on their campus for their students.
Okay, so when you said with housing expansion going vertically, how can Athens balance environmental sustainability with housing expansion?
Well, there is a clean energy plan that Athens Clarke County has adopted. By 2035, they are moving from fossil fuel to...
We're going to be graduated by then.
Yeah, right. you might be clean energy. So if solar power energy. So by 2050, they're looking at having all of the government's, buses and buildings being retrofitted for solar energy. So we're looking at maybe making that transition and trying to accommodate our growth.
And here on Education Matters, we ask all of our guests this essential question. And that question is, why does education matter to you?
Education matters because it is the cornerstone of who we are. We cannot grow without having a form of being able to read, to write, and basically with education, you are learning to read, you're learning to write, and you're learning to grow and expand. Education and reading literacy gives you the ability to open new avenues that ordinarily you will be cut off from if you didn't have that skill set. It is the cornerstone of a civilization, being able to say what you want to do today and it is heard on in the future. And those people who have experienced difficulties in the past hopefully will be able to learn from it in the future. And I think with education, it helps us to be able to put that in a framework of understanding and building so that we all can move forward.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Education Matters, the official voice of the youth. Education Matters is sponsored by Drug Free Athens, Ellison's Professional Services, and MeURadioAthens.com. If you missed any portion of this program or would like to hear it again, it can be heard Saturday at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., Monday at 5:30 p.m., or Tuesday at 10 a.m. on MeURadioAthens.com. You can also listen on demand at our YouTube channel, Education Matters Network. Education Matters is the production of the High School Completion Initiative.